Yeah.
Right?
We're going to do it a little different right now. These two gentlemen are joining to the hip with this research. Ron, with his associate, Calvary, will this, had the opportunity to record sounds in 1972, 1974. Added to this, another old Swabby and I, a mate of mine, took these sounds, and I'll let you tell the story of how he figured this out, because it's important, and turned them into an understanding for us of what language is.
happened to, there were 6 of us involved originally. We were all hunting. It was a hunting camp. Essentially, it runs back in very interesting area. And this is the visual camp out there smelling. This is Philip Dow. I noticed the Sergeant Press they were wearing. Could be a key right there. The question is, why did he this with us? The other people that claimed to have this happen, but it did. We don't know why to this day, other than there's some sounds here. By the way, we see a little icon. Sound icon, that means there's a sound that I want to play for you. So if you see that, I play the sound, say something to me. I've got to play something a little bit with this. It all started, the professional part of it started in 1972 when I was very famous. Is there a cat around here we play with? Try some courtesy, you know. Anyway, Warren Johnson, who was our group leader, he wrote a letter back to Sanderson. Sanderson was a founder of the investigation of Dennis Wing. And Warren told him in 1971, the winter, a 23-page letter explaining what happened. Well, I read the letter that Sanderson wrote that he learned, and he thought it was a hoax, and so did Peter. I read it just because it's too incredible what Warren was saying, which isn't, understandable. It's really incredible encounter. I essentially got a hold of Peter contacted Alan Berry. Alan Berry was working for Reading Record Searchlight newspaper in California, and he made a point to come down and see us. He also was hoax, and he was there specifically trying to uncover a hoax. And I didn't know that. I thought he was just interested in what it was. But the day he died, which by the way, he just died last January, Alan did, he thought it would make a better story if it could have been a hoax. Because he could not figure it out. He tried as hard as he could to try to figure out how this could have been done. It was so far away from everything. And the evidence of that would be the sounds that were recorded, those big footprints. And he really was hoping they could change the hoax. He could write a book about it. He did write a book in 1976 with Anna Slade. And that book is this one right here. Anybody have that book? You can buy one every year. We're not going sometime back. I know Tom Yammer on the first, he didn't make it this weekend, but he has the last 2 books in incredibly good condition, signed by Al Berry. That's when he was on his deathbed. I took him to him. He signed it for Tom. So you want to hassle Tom Yammer about those? He's got some nice things there. Anyway, Al Berry fostered a study at the University of Wyoming to establish that states as being not pointy, but not those, not whatever evidence from a professional. He got Dr. Curley to study these things for a year. He did a semi-quantitative competition. Semi-quantitative study, that means he didn't study all the tapes we had, all the sounds we had, just a few, because we have hours of these sounds over the years that we had these encounters that were close up. And he came to some incredibly good conclusions for the sounds, showing that they were not manufactured. They had no 60-cycle hum in them, which would have meant that they were recorded somewhere else in the studio and brought into the area. That wasn't the case. And anyway, it was a good study, but it wasn't complete. We still didn't know what they were, what we were dealing with. Dr. average human range that we talk in, the sound you'll hear is these little dots that you see. You can see over there on the left. Right there. That's the sound you'll hear, and that's what I'm fixing to play, and that's where they fall into this graph. So you can see they're in and out of our range. My thoughts are they can be very good at mimicry because they have a range, low and high, and in everything we do. I know one time my daughter and I, that's her, Ron over there. By the way, she's seen him 3 times. I've only seen him once in all these years. Why I brought her up, but let me play a sound. I'm sure you guys like to hear a bit of the sound. Most of you have heard a lot of my stuff already, so here we go. Did you hear that? Okay. Because we're having a little issue trying to get this into the sound system, so I'll just be playing that. If you want to hear it again, just let me know. I saw you tape. Anyway, here's a whistle. They whistle through the vocal cords here. They don't whistle through their lips like we do. This is something else Dr. Curley came up with, and for you. But it's really a pretty whistle. Why did I concentrate here? Start. That's Warren Johnson. That was 72, and that was one of the first interactions we actually had, where you heard Warren whistling, and then you heard this thing whistling back. I think they got a really neat whistle. There are all kinds of sounds they make. Dr. Curlin also had this in his presentation. Assuming the average male is 5 foot 10 inches tall, his average pitch is 115 hertz, and his vocal tract length is 17.8 centimeters. Data from that grr sound that you heard, or growl sound, yields a height of 8 foot 2 inches by pitch and 7 foot 4 inches by tract length. And we'll hear that right now. Hear the grr. Can you guys hear that? I barely hear it.
Turn it up.
mention it, here's one of our sounds. I got kind of close to it. So you can see why I thought they were taken from us, but they weren't. So there's a little bit of cooperation. A lot of people say they've heard things, sounds out in the woods that sound exactly like ours, but they don't usually have tape recorders with them. When this started happening to the Johnson brothers in '71, it frightened them. They've been going up there since the 50s, and they really didn't know what to think of it. At first, Warren thought it was a big bear, and he was going to go out until he heard more of the sounds. He realized that's not a bear sound. When the things left later on, they went out and found these big, huge tracks in the mud, and that's when they knew they were probably dealing with something besides a bear. Big 5-toed prints, and they went back in. The thing was taking the food that they left out. So that's what they like, by the way. They like food like we do. Here's the more cooperation I was talking about. Dr. Vincent, Texas A&M, I sent him a sound clip, and his assessment of it was a 79 hertz, and that suggestion animal to him, 8 foot 5 inches, and average minute speech is 94 to 125 hertz. So there's a cooperative from another doctor in Texas with Dr. Curlin's account in Wyoming. Do they have infrasound? We contacted a lady at the Flanta Institute in back east, and she's, if I know what infrasound is, it's below human hearing. It's way down there. It's what elephants, giraffes, tigers even communicate with infrasound. We can't hear it, but it definitely, we can feel it. It has an effect on our beings as humans. So I've often wondered if maybe that wasn't something that caused some paralyzing effects in some of us up there at different times. Because there's times when you just can't get up, you can't move, you're just frozen, you're not afraid. As you can see, we weren't afraid of these things, because we knew if they were going to hurt us, they would have done it. They could throw a rock probably pretty good. And anyway, we obviously didn't have recorders that recorded infrasound. You wouldn't have known when to record it anyway that was going on. Dr. Fitch, who was passed away several years ago, Tom mentioned him a little bit the other day. He mentioned the idea of infrasound because he said, I don't want to hear what you felt. I said, that wasn't a feeling. It was like you're frozen Star Trek episode or something, And it's happened to me. It's happened to some of the other guys up there. The one account I remember vividly is when Warren Johnson and I, we knew one was right outside chattering, making the sounds, and so we went out the shelter as fast as we could because it was bright one night. We thought, well, we'll see this thing run away. Well, we didn't see anything run away. So we thought, well, he's got to be right there. So we started, both of us, about 15 feet apart, started walking up towards where that tree was. Knowing he's going to run away. We're going to see this sucker finally, Because we were trying everything to get a picture of one. That's not something you can do very easily. In fact, you're going to be lucky if you get a picture. They seem to be wise to that for some reason. We were rigging up camera traps and all kinds of things trying to get a picture, but it just wasn't happening. We lost 3 cameras batted off trees. We underestimated what these were. At the time, we thought they were just an animal out in the woods. We were kind of having fun with it. Al Berry wasn't. He was trying to prove something else, but we were having fun with it. I had no idea 40 years ago that I'd be standing in a place like this talking about these things. I thought, well, this is fun. This is neat. It's still fun, but it's still under my crawl. What are these things? Anyway, Warren and I was walking up towards that tree, and thinking we were going to see this thing run away. And we were just, at the same time, without talking to each other, just froze right there, couldn't move. And I mean, you just can't move, and you don't know why. Warren looked over at me and said, I can't move. I said, I can't either. He says, I think we should go back. And I think we ought to go back. Went back, no sooner got back in the shelter, things started bouncing off again. So those are little things that's happened up there. We've had a lot of incredible things things happen, which I don't get into a lot because I could talk all day on that. But I do in my book, I just wrote a book, I just released it this weekend. Just got it about a week ago. It talks about my 40 years doing this and different things that have happened at the camp and the different little unanswered questions that we've all had. But getting back to this chronology here, in 1974, I recorded some more sounds besides the aggressive sounds you heard, just been hearing, which, by the way, Scott has some more of those when he gets up here. But in 74, Bill and I, McDowell, we were the Packers, the worst people, and we, on our way in 74, we went in a few days before deer season just to get the camp ready and to take supplies in for everybody. And on the trail in, our animals got spooked by something, which we didn't think much of it because it could have been a snake, it could have been a bear, it could have been anything. But we went on up the trail a couple miles and ran across this huge track, a 22-inch track right in the trail. And nobody had been on the trail yet. And that was a really good sign that we knew these things are around. They don't usually leave tracks on purpose, but I think this was left on purpose just because I think they wanted us to know they were there. But when we got to camp, a few hours later, they were there. We didn't know it right when we first got there, but we got animals unpacked, and I started up the animals when we heard these limbs break. The rocks are popping, the whoops are going off. Incredible night. And I went over to the saddlebag, I got my little handheld recorder out, started recording it, so I can play some of that for you. But they let us record them. They don't do that so easily anymore. Scott will tell you about some of that, and I will too, but I gotta tell you this story happened to me last year, but I won't do it right now, I'm gonna hit myself. Let you listen to this. Implied desire to interact, here we go. Used to these things and thinking in a Freeman type nature, and this was outside the shelter, and it was an exciting night. This is the night Bill and I both got glimpses of them streaking through the moon trees. They were just all over. There was 3 up that night. We think there was a little one, and there were 2 larger ones. Might have been a male or female, just don't know. But you'll hear the little voice here in a minute, and I'll play that for you, which we've heard several times, but I finally got it recorded. To me, they were trying to say something. I'll talk to you, we could probably tell you better, but still don't know what they were trying to say, but it was a lot of fun that night. And I got some more sounds here too, which shows I think they were slowing down their vocalizations to communicate to us, because in the first couple of years, their vocalizations were very rapid chatter. And you hear this from the Albert Osmond's account up in Canada. He said they chattered amongst themselves. You hear a lot of people claiming that they chatter, or they do chatter. However, this next sound you'll hear, it sounds like they were actually slowing their chatter down because they wanted to communicate. And again, I'm going to reiterate, ask me something. Scott, what are they asking me? I always put him on the spot like that. Oh, here's the little one that I recorded. I think it's a little one anyway. You gotta listen close. This is not the quality. Again, I just pulled this recorder, little handheld out of my saddlebag. So the first 12 minutes of this whole night is just shot because I laid the little portable microphone on top of it, and I got this bad humming sound. So these are just excerpts from that evening as I recorded it. Listen closely, you'll hear what I think is a little one and a big one having a confrontation. Could you hear that little voice in there? We've also got recordings of these things walking at night when everybody goes to sleep inside the shelter. And these big crunches right outside, bipedal crunching going around. I captured that one night. Couldn't get out of my sleep bag for some reason. You just can't get up sometimes. How much you think you should? Oh, this is Scott, who made it a day late, but he made it. Well, I'm gonna, that's going to make me a little faster here, so maybe I'll start with some questions for telling the other one something. I think I have different groups recorded, and I do believe they tell the other one something. I do believe it. That was the very last group of that night was a drawn out whoop, 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 and they all left. So prior to that, the groups were different. The tree knots and all that, yeah, we do that. And they did that. Oh, here we go. These are all California prints. That's Al Berry's boot and a track that he cast up there. These are Bluff Creek tracks, 1967. This is Bluff Creek, 1961. These are the Buckley prints, Archie Buckley. If you remember his story. This is a six-toed. I met a Native American who cast this, and both right and left foot both had six toes. That's about 20 miles from our Sierra camp, as the crow flies. So anyway, I think this is what I base my opinion that there may be different types of species or subspecies of these things existing, because their tracks are so different. If you notice, our tracks are very splayed, they're very big. Hardly any indication of arch, even though there is an arch, but you have to look for it. These are more human-like. You can see the mid-tarsal break, which I'm sure Dr. Miller will talk about. This is the Patterson track. And they're just different. A lot of difference in tracks. What's my mouse? Pardon me. There's Scott's legs. Remember that picture, Scott? We had something happen a couple of years ago. Scott started going up there with me a couple of years ago. And I don't take too many people up there. I've taken a wildlife biologist up there, Joe Hauser, who lives in Montana. Scott lives in Missouri, teaches there. Taking Scott up there because we've been trying to get more cooperative recordings. But as he'll tell you, and as I'll tell you, it's not that easy anymore because they know you're trying to expose them. I think that's what they know. It's hard to get cooperative sounds when they know that's what you're doing. If you'll notice, that's Scott right there trying to spread his legs to match these two tracks, which this is the morning, I believe this is the morning when Ron, is this the morning you seen one? The day before that, we heard some sound or something. Scott maybe can tell you a little about it, but you can see the tracks here, shooting across out here. Right through that's Rhonda and my granddaughter and Scott. And I got to tell you, that's the day after I got thrown off horse, broke a rib, broke a wrist. It was one of those days when I was having a good time on painkillers. But I got these prints, these are pretty significant. Looks how these are deep. And I mean, Scott couldn't even make an impression. And this is right after we heard that, and I heard something, and then the next morning, I guess it was, is when we went on to scene one. But this is a camp, this is not our camp, this is in the Sierras, but it's not where we go to. This is after I broke a rib and we had to come back out. Scott had to drive my horse trailer around to where Rhonda was camped, which is about 12 miles away. But as the crow flies, it's not that far. These things can travel pretty good distances pretty quick, we think. Let's talk about the characteristics. We know they have a language. The Sierra, because I was dealing with, has a language. We don't know about the other ones, because you hear a lot of reports of screams and yells. You do hear reports of chatter and language, but again, maybe there's different kinds that can do different things. The ones I dealt with have cognizant thought. They can reason, they can figure things out. That's why we lost these cameras, because we put up a black thread, maybe 6 foot high, right where they've been coming in after food. And then when you come that way, they go around, you got the camera off. And I think they're sentient entities, sentient beings. They, like humans, they can reason. What do they want to do? What do they want to do? The prints can start and stop abruptly. We've heard a lot of reports of that. And you try to put some science behind that, and it just doesn't work. Let me go back up here. Tell you about these tracks. These tracks right here, they stop right there, and they don't go anywhere else. Now, unless there was a 500 guy down on a pogo stick jumping around, that's a puzzle. That's a puzzle. And I don't know what can answer that. Well, I got an idea, but I don't know if there's credibility right here, right now. There's some very unusual, out-of-place sounds that happened to me up there and the other guys. And it was just happened to just one person, but it happened to all of us. At one time, we thought our barrels, which were packed in on these mules, with supplies in them, were being ripped away from the trees. Everything in it being tossed around, thrown down the mountain. We thought, what a mess they're making out there. We go out there, and there's nothing moved, nothing has been changed. They either do mass hypnosis with all of this, or they have an incredible vocal mechanism that can mimic all that, or there's another answer. Who wants to know? I don't know. I have a theory. Classical science has disciplines. They have to follow procedures. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm free from all that. I can tell you what I think. A scientist won't tell you that. He can only tell you what he's disciplined to talk about and the procedures. Who ever had a deja vu in here? You know what a deja vu is? Is there not a hand raised? Look at that. How do you explain that? Can anybody explain a deja vu? It's something you shouldn't know about, but you do. You know who's going to walk through that door, or you know something's going to happen that hasn't happened yet. Are we restricted in our three-dimensional environment, and every once in a while able to delve into something else? I'm just shooting out some thoughts here, but keep shooting one out if you want to. But I get into a little bit of that in my book. I won't get into much of it now, but I'm not a scientist, I'm not a physicist, but that could have something to do with why these mysteries are existing. And it might be able to couple together some of the quote-unquote paranormal that everybody's talking about with maybe a science. And quantum physics is a science. So if that can blend in with some of the mysteries and resolve something, it would be nice to be able to pursue that, or at least keep an open mind to it. That's important, by the way, keep an open mind. Quantum physics is very puzzling. You can't get your head around it. So read up on it and you'll see why. You won't be able to understand it. It violates the accepted properties of classical science, and it challenges our perception of reality. Einstein worked on that for 30 years and still couldn't get his head around it. But it exists mathematically. So let's get back to realization here. Reality here, whatever you want to call it. What do I suggest for interaction? These are my suggestions. Locate a hotspot, which you can do. Our camp, now there's been unrelated reports around our camp within a 20-mile radius, a lot. You can find these things on the BFRO, which I used to be curator for them, and it's a great site for digging up information. And you can find where a lot of reports are and try to triangulate maybe something in there and go habituate the area. Do you like that word, Tom? Habituate? Stay there as long as you can, because they need to get used to, and they are curious about you. I think that's what inspired them to interact with us. They were curious about what we're doing. I suggest small groups. Don't take dogs with you, by the way. No forest animal sounds. Don't think that just because you hear something you don't recognize that it's Bigfoot. I mean, you need a couple different corroborating things, the track, sound, sighting, something going with it. Just to hear someone say there's a Bigfoot is not my idea of a good report. Camp's environment, you create that environment, keep it sober, keep it clean, be happy. We were happy. We were having fun, not drunk fun. I mean, just it was great up there. It's a good feeling to be out in the wilderness and have the fresh air. And it was a fun time, and we were having fun. That's important, I think. Creating curiosity is an element that you got to work at. I think Paul Grace plays guitar. It's a little far. I take my guitar up there, but it's just too far. I don't trust those horses anyway, or the mules. Now Scott took a drum. Got some reaction to that. He can tell you about that. Don't be the aggressor. I think that's really important. If you're out there trying to make something happen, just be yourself, have fun, and if they want to interact with you, you'll hear a big snap, or you'll hear rocks popping, rhythmically popping. I've got those sounds in one of my CDs too. They got rhythm. Tricks, don't try new tricks, because if you get out there and start trying to trick them right away, you're probably not going to have anything happen. It just won't. Wait till they start playing with you, and then maybe play back a little bit. And by the way, they do toy with you. They will toy with your head. They do. It's like they have fun with us, and you may as well have fun back. That's maybe all you get. Document what you do. Write it down. Because if you don't, you'll question yourself later if you have something happen. And last year when I started having something happen, I started making notes. And I knew the next day, I'd talk about it and wait a minute. What are we going to do? Staying with the same thing. Stay simple, be sincere, don't be afraid. That's easier said than done. Again, I'll bring up something that happened to me last year. It scared the crap out of me. Offer them food, offer them good food. Don't underestimate what they are. Don't think of them like a bear or a deer or something else running around, that they're sentient entities. Again, the Sierra ones are, and don't know what these others are because they haven't dealt with them. Share your information. Conclusion. How much time do I have? Everyone? Let's keep talking around me off. I think with knowledge comes responsibility. And as we know more, I think it's our responsibility to try to learn how to communicate. And Scott's going to be talking a little bit about that. Yes, Scott? But you care about me, or does that mean? And it's okay, I've got time for a question or two. Please, if I ask you a question, or if you want to have a question, let's keep the testimonials down to a minimum. What? No, not yet. I'm not up. Did I miss any icons, by the way? It don't seem like I played no sound. We get down. Oh, my book. I just got these about a week ago, like I said earlier. There's a little CD in them, and when you read it to the context of the sound that's being made, it's my 40-year chronology. wilderness, I guess you want to call it. That's not kind of biblical, don't it? Well, there is an idea, too, that these things may be a remnant of the Nephilims, which I've heard a lot. Speaking of biblical, another thing I won't get into right now. Was a guy doing some DVDs that was called The Watchers, which might be interesting. It's called, he doesn't know about Bigfoot until just recently when he heard my sounds, and now he's wondering if maybe this isn't a remnant of a celestial being impregnating human women, which created the giants. But there's a lot of history of giants in Greek mythology, Hebrew mythology, biblical context, and all that. My book is my 40 years doing this up through last year. The little CD that's included in it will have the soundtracks that you can play as you hear it. And you'll actually hear the sound that I'm talking about. Let me tell you what happened. This is the end, by the way. I just give you a brief right quick of what happened to me last year. Scott and I went up there again. And the whole 3 times we went up there, that's the samurai sound that everybody seems to like. Let's hear it one more time. That moneymaker coined that. And yes, God, you can start now. Last year, Scott and I went up there, and 3 times we made trips up there, stayed for 4 to 5 days at a time. He had his recorder going 24/7, and one of his packs was full of batteries, so he wouldn't run out. And nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. And we habituated that area. Huh? Something happened. The other times we were up there before. But he was trying to get some cooperative sounds. We all came out. The last time he took off to Missouri, had to go back to school and teaching back there. And I'd started eating me. I had to know if these things were still around or not. And I decided to go up there alone, which is kind of a no-no, because you can get hurt in a lot of different ways in that area. And I don't mean by Bigfoot, but there's a lot of bear, there's a lot of unknowns. It's just a rugged area. But I went there by myself, and the mosquitoes were about to eat me alive when I got to camp. I set up a little tent, because our shelter was about to cave in from the snow, so I didn't want to sleep in there. I had this little tent up there, I set it up. I was waving off the mosquitoes, and I'm just going to get out of here. So I'm in the tent, about 6 o'clock, still a lot of daylight. I started reading, and right outside my tent, you guys hear Paul yesterday when he made that big sound? I'm not going to do that, but that's the kind of sound I had right outside my tent. It was a big wood knock. Defined whack. Sound like a 22 going off or some kind of a gun. And I knew then, well, that's what they do. That's how they're going to get your attention. But they want to see what you're going to do. So I sit there. Okay, I'm not going to sit here anymore. So I went outside with a towel and waving off these mosquitoes who were about to take all my blood out. And I started talking to them. That's what you do, calmly talk. And I asked them to please befriend me now. Come in, let me see you. Just don't come back after dark and scare me. Well, they did. About 10 o'clock that night, I was sitting there, and by the way, at 7:30 when I went back in, after I got through talking to him, I went back in and put my recorder on, which is a little H2 Zoom, really quality, little light handheld recorder going on there, really great. And I put it on pause, put the recorder on, put it on pause. And it'd sit there and pause from 7:30 to 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden I heard this chatter going on. That's all okay. And at the same time, some black one of these old barrels that we bought in years ago on wheels. And I told you not to come back and scare me, because scaring me. And I don't get scared, I'm a tough guy. This thing started walking around out there, and I kept talking to it. It was bipedal, stepping around the stove, about 15 feet away, walking around the stove. And it came up to my tent and stood there and breathed, and then I guess it left. I never heard it leave, but it left. But I gotta tell you, my tape recorder wouldn't work. I had brand new lithium batteries in it, and this doesn't surprise Tom Powell. By the way, Tom Powell wrote the foreword to my book. In case that helps you decide to buy one. He's a good guy. Anyway, I didn't sleep that night, I gotta tell you. I was laying there, and you don't know what you're hearing. I didn't want to turn my little headlamp on and make too many notes because whatever was going on, I didn't want to get rid of it. Well, a light, by the way, shining lights a lot of times, or if they see a light, anything like that. But these lithium batteries should not have gone dead. They shouldn't have been dead, but they were dead. From 7:30 to 10 o'clock, they should have lasted that long, or longer actually. About 4 o'clock in the morning, I heard some pounding going on, and then right outside my tent was a high-pitched squeal of some kind. That's it. But to answer my question, I had to know if they were around, and they are still around. So when I get back and the snow lets me, my daughter and I are going to walk up there and spend some time up there this summer. And I want to get to the bottom of it, and I'll share it all with you guys. I have a website and I have a Facebook that I don't hardly ever look at, but her sister does. And just spend your life on those things. But let me open it up to just a few questions, and then Tom, wherever you are, just stop me when the time's up. Tell me when there's one more question left or something like that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wondered if we are associated with cave systems or areas of caves.
He wants to know if there's associated with cave. We've never found caves up there, but it is in the Sierras. There's reports of them being on the other side. We never could find that cave, but I don't know. I mean, there's no caves that we've ever found and been all over the mountain, but there's some really steep areas there. And in fact, Scott and I have been trying to get in this one area that I've wanted to look at for years because I think that's where they hang out. You can't really get there. In fact, we tried one day and got lightning struck out. But it's also get there one of these times. It's an overnighter to get there. You're going to have to really plan better. And then I come back and spot my heel. Yes? Oh yeah, they gift. They do gift. That's why it's important to leave them something. That's what I didn't do that Lyman's talking about. I could have left something out. I didn't even think about all this. Was a kind of surprise to me because nothing happened all the 3 times Scott and I were up there. And then on the 4th time, on my 4th trip in. By the way, we walked. Did we walk every trip? We walked every trip, didn't we? That was the year before. Don't talk about me falling. I didn't fall. I got thrown off a horse. Sounds more exciting. Yes?
Have you ever been gifted?
Yes, he just asked that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I should have repeated the question. We have been gifted. They brought us pine cones, which we started a fire with. I talk about that in my book. We'll get into that. Yes. In fact, that night in '74, how we knew they were there when they started doing our fire. We heard the recordings. The next morning, we found some fresh alders up on top of our shelter. Earlier that year, we had rebuilt the shelter with fresh plastic alders this spring, put them up there, but they were all dried up. I got a picture of this in my book. And there was 2 fresh ones we noticed the next day. So they had done it, they were twisted off, by the way. That big around. No human could have done that. And I also noticed a big track right in front of our shelter doorway. And Bill McDowell had dropped the dust cover off his rifle unknowingly into that track as we went in that night. And the next morning I looked out and seen that. It wasn't pressed down, it was just leaning there on a little twig. So that track was made before we got there. They knew who we were and where we were going. That's pretty essential.
What type of gifts do you use?
We leave food. apples if you want to haul apples into a place like this. And we do when we take animals, we'll take good stuff like that. Otherwise, leave anything, they like food. We'll
Yeah.
find them.
By now, I'm sure a lot of people are sending you stuff to listen to, or you have. What are the most common misidentifications that people should look out for with sounds?
They're walking on 2 feet.
I mean vocalizations.
I'm sorry.
What are the most misidentified vocalizations that you hear? Like people want to send you stuff and say, "Hey, listen to this."
I don't listen to it. I send it to Scott and let him deal with that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Don't know if I have any. At least keeps motion for me. Doesn't make the one. Sorry. Davis, and also Davis University, but also Dr. Curlin suggested that whistle was coming from in the throat. And, I think there are people that know how to do that. I think Jeff sent me something years ago, throat singers. Yeah. People can do that if they train for it. But that's it. I've done it.